Welcome to Haunted Stories channel, where the dark whispers your name. I'm Sun, your guide through the shadows. Tonight, we unravel the Watcher's window, a chilling creepypasta of a window that never stays shut and a gaze that never blinks. This 15-minute nightmare will claw at your soul. So dim the lights, check your locks, and don't look outside. What waits in the fog when you stare too long? Dare to find out? Let's open the glass. The night was too still, a suffocating quiet that clung to the walls of my apartment like damp mold. I lay in bed, the mattress sagging beneath me, my eyes tracing the faint cracks in the ceiling. The clock on my nightstand had stopped at 1:17 a.m., its hands frozen, though I swore I'd replaced the batteries last week. The air was cold, sharp, slicing through my thin blanket. I checked the window before bed, sliding the lock into place, but a draft curled around my ankles, whispering across my skin. The curtains twitched, their edges fluttering as if grazed by unseen fingers. I didn't want to look. My pulse hammered, a dull thud in my chest that seemed to echo in the silence. I'd always hated windows at night, ever since I was a kid, lying awake in my parents' house, convinced something was peering in from the dark. They called it childish, said it was just shadows, just the wind. But I wasn't a child anymore, and this wasn't their house. I lived alone in a crumbling apartment on the edge of Salt Lake City, where the fog rolled in thick and stayed for weeks. The window was my only connection to the outside, a fragile barrier between me and whatever waited in the haze. I sat up, the bed frame creaking, the sound too loud in the quiet. The curtains moved again, a slow, deliberate sway, as if something had pressed against them from the other side. My throat tightened, my mouth dry. I reached for the lamp, my fingers brushing the switch, but it wouldn't turn on. The bulb was dead, or maybe the power was out. I grabbed my phone instead, its screen flickering to life, casting a weak glow that made the shadows dance. The battery was at 5%, draining faster than it should. The window was open, not wide, just an inch, but enough for the fog to slip inside, coiling across the floor like a living thing. I hadn't touched it. I'd locked it, I was sure, my fingers still remembering the cold metal of the latch. My breath caught as I stared at the gap, the glass fogged over, streaked with condensation. The reflection was wrong. It didn't show my room, just darkness, a black expanse where my bed should have been, and in that darkness, a single point of light gleamed, pale and unblinking, like an eye. I scrambled out of bed, my bare feet hitting the floor, the wood icy against my skin. The fog was thicker now, pooling around my calves, its touch clammy and heavy. I reached for the window, my hand trembling, but stopped. A sound filled the room, not a hum but a whisper, low and guttural, like wind through a hollow tree. It wasn't coming from outside, it was in the walls, in the air, in me. Look! The voice was familiar, too familiar, a warped version of my own, rasping from the shadows. I froze, my heart slamming against my ribs. The whisper grew louder, overlapping, a chorus of voices that weren't mine but spoke with my tongue. Look closer. The light in the reflection blinked, and the darkness shifted, rippling like oil. A shape formed, vague and tall, its edges soft, as if it couldn't decide what it wanted to be. Its head tilted, the pale eye fixed on me, and I felt it see me. Not just my face, but everything, my thoughts, my fears, the parts of me I'd buried deep. I wanted to run, but my legs were lead. My hand, still near the window, moved without my will, fingers grazing the glass. It was cold, colder than it should have been, and the whisper surged, a scream that clawed at my mind. The shape in the reflection grew clearer, its body too long, its arms dangling, fingers brushing the floor. It didn't have a face, not really, just that eye, and a mouth that wasn't a mouth, a gash that twitched as if trying to smile. Look, swear. The voices were everywhere, in the walls, the fog, my skull. I tried to pull my hand away, but it wouldn't move, pressed against the glass, the cold burning my skin. The shape leaned closer, its eye filling the reflection, and I saw something in it. Not just light, but a place, A vast, empty place where the fog never lifted, where the dark was alive. My breath came in shallow gasps, each one a rasp that echoed the whisper. The window rattled, the cracks spreading, and the fog poured in, wrapping around my chest, squeezing. I don't know how I broke free. A surge of panic, maybe, or some stubborn spark of survival. I yanked my hand back, stumbling, tripping over the edge of the bed. I hit the floor hard, pain shooting through my knees, but it cleared my head. The whisper faltered, just for a moment, and I crawled to the window, slamming it shut. The latch clicked, but the fog lingered, pooling in the corners, watching. The shape was gone, the reflection showing my room again, but the eye stayed in my mind, unblinking. I didn't sleep. I sat against the door, clutching my phone until it died. Its screen black. The fog pressed against the window, the cracks glinting in the weak dawn light. I thought it was over, but the air was still wrong, heavy with that sour, ancient smell. The floorboards creaked, though I hadn't moved, and when I looked down, I saw scratches, thin and deliberate, etched into the wood. They weren't random, they formed a word, my name, carved as if by nails. My arm itched the spot where the cold had burned. I rolled up my sleeve, expecting nothing. But there it was, a mark, not a rune, but a jagged line, like a claw's scratch, faintly red, pulsing with my heartbeat. The whisper was quieter now, but it was there, inside me, urging me to look at the window. I couldn't. But as the fog thickened outside, the glass rattled again, and I knew it wasn't done. It was waiting, patient, certain I'd look again. The whisper grew, my voice, not my voice, chanting, "Look, forever." The fog didn't lift with the morning. It pressed against the apartment window, a gray curtain that swallowed the city beyond, leaving only silence. I hadn't moved from the floor, my back aching against the door, my eyes burning from staring at the cracked glass. The scratches on the floorboards, my name, carved in jagged lines, glinted in the weak dawn light as if mocking me. The mark on my arm throbbed, a faint red line that pulsed with my heartbeat, cold as if dipped in frost. The whisper lingered, a faint rasp of my own voice. "Look closer." It wasn't just in my head anymore. It was in the walls, the air, a weight I couldn't shake. I needed answers, something to prove I wasn't losing my mind. My hands trembled as I reached for my old tablet, its cracked screen barely holding a charge. The apartment was too quiet, the kind of quiet that makes you hear your own blood rushing. I glanced at the window, the fog swirling, and saw a flicker. A shadow, tall and blurred, its head tilted as if listening. I forced my eyes to the tablet, typing with clumsy fingers. Salt Lake City hauntings, shadows at window, whispers in fog. The results were useless. Tourist traps, ghost stories, nothing about pale eyes or voices that steal your own. The whisper grew louder, a hiss that clawed at my thoughts. The screen flickered, the text twisting, letters melting into a single word. "Look!" I threw the tablet down, its crash echoing in the stillness. The mark on my arm burned, a cold fire that spread up my shoulder. I stumbled to the bathroom, splashing water on my face, but the mirror was wrong. My reflection wasn't mine. It was me, but not me, my eyes too wide, my mouth stretched into a grin that didn't belong. The whisper surged, a chorus of voices. "Swear closer." I backed away, my breath ragged, and noticed the sink. The drain was clogged, not with hair but with something pale, like skin, pulsing faintly. I grabbed a towel, wiping my face, but it came away streaked with something gray, cold, like ash. I had to get out. I pulled on a jacket, the fabric heavy against my skin, and headed for the door. The hallway was dim, the lights flickering with a sickly yellow glow, casting shadows that didn't match my own. My neighbor's door hung open, but inside was dark, no sound, no life. I didn't stop to look. The stairwell reeked of mildew, the walls damp, and as I descended, the whisper followed, a voice in my ear, urging me to turn back. I didn't. The lobby was empty, the glass doors fogged over, but I pushed through, the cold air stinging my lungs. The city was gone. The streets were silent. No cars, no voices, just fog that coiled around my legs like a living thing. The ground was soft, almost spongy, leaving shallow prints that filled with gray water. I walked, no plan, just the need to move, to escape the whisper. It didn't work. The fog pulsed, a faint rhythm that matched the mark on my arm, and the buildings were wrong, windows dark, their frames warped, reflecting not the street but a void. A black expanse where shapes moved, too tall, too thin. I'd read about this place, hadn't I? A story, a warning, about a window that shouldn't be opened. My stomach twisted, nausea rising, sharp and bitter. I ended up at the library, its doors ajar, the interior swallowed in shadow. The whisper softened, almost coaxing, as I stepped inside. The air was heavy, thick with the smell of old paper and something sour, like spoiled milk. The lights buzzed, casting a pale glow that didn't reach the corners. I found a computer, its screen already on, displaying a single page, the open window. No author, no comments, just a story about a figure at the glass, watching, waiting. There was an image, me, standing in my apartment, staring at the window, my reflection grinning. I hadn't taken it. The whisper surged, and the screen flickered, the words "you looked," typing themselves. I searched again, frantic, typing hauntings in fog, voices at night, but the browser crashed, the screen going black. The last thing I saw was a map, a ridge above Park City, marked with a house. It wasn't a house I knew, but it felt familiar, like a memory I'd forgotten. The page mentioned a name, The Watcher, and a warning, "Don't look, it sees you first." The whisper was a scream now, and my arm burned, the mark pulsing like a second heart. I stumbled back, knocking over a chair, and saw it. A handprint on the screen, too large, fingers curled, pressed into the glass like it was clay. I ran, the library's aisles stretching, the shelves leaning inward, their books whispering my name. Outside, the fog was alive, shapes moving within, guiding me toward the ridge. I didn't want to go, but my legs moved, my body betraying me. The whisper was a chant, my voice rasping, "Look closer." The city faded, replaced by a forest, not of trees but of shadows, their branches sharp, cutting the fog. The house stood ahead, its windows not glass but eyes, pale and unblinking, watching me. I stopped, my knife, dull, useless, clutched in my hand. The door was open, a black mouth exhaling cold. Inside, figures waited, blurred and tall, their faces blank, their whispers mine, chanting, "Swear." The whisper was deafening, a weight in my chest, my skull. I felt the mark spread, a claw's scratch crawling up my arm, my blood cold, sluggish. The fog closed in, and as I stared at the house, the windows blinked, slow and deliberate, calling me to look. The fog swallowed me as I stood before the house, its open door a black wound in the gray haze. The ridge above Park City was silent, the shadow forest behind me still, its claw-like branches frozen in the fog. The house didn't belong here. Its walls were too smooth, too pale, like bone bleached by time. The windows, if you could call them that, were not glass but opaque, pale surfaces that pulsed faintly, like eyes half closed. The whisper was everywhere. My voice, not my voice, rasping, "Look closer." My arm burned, the claw mark pulsing, a cold weight that tugged me forward. I didn't want to go in, but my feet moved, each step heavy, as if the ground itself were pulling me. The doorway exhaled cold, a breath that stung my skin. Inside, the house was wrong. The walls curved at angles that didn't make sense, bending inward, then outward, like ribs expanding with each breath. The floor was soft, almost spongy, creaking under my weight with a sound like muffled sobs. No furniture, no lights, just a dim glow from the walls, a sickly yellow that cast no shadows. The air was thick, sour with the smell of damp earth and something sharper, like blood left to rust. The whisper grew louder, a chorus of voices overlapping, chanting my name, urging me deeper. I walked, though every instinct screamed to turn back. The hallway stretched, longer than the house should allow, its walls lined with scratches. Names, not mine, carved in frantic, jagged lines. Some were fresh, the wood splintered, others faded, as if etched decades ago. My fingers brushed one, and the whisper surged, a scream that made my ears ring. The mark on my arm throbbed, and for a moment, I saw it. A figure in the distance, tall and blurred, its head tilted, watching. It didn't move, but it was closer when I blinked, its pale eye glinting in the gloom. The hallway ended at a staircase, spiraling upward, its steps uneven, slick with moisture. I climbed, the air growing colder, heavier, pressing against my chest. The walls pulsed, a slow rhythm that matched my heartbeat, and the whisper became a song, my voice weaving through it. Swear closer. My reflection flickered in the walls, not on them but within, trapped in the pale glow. It wasn't me. My face was too long, my eyes too wide, my mouth open, whispering words I couldn't hear. I looked away, my breath shallow, but the reflection followed, its grin widening. The stairs led to a room, vast and empty, its ceiling lost in shadow. The walls were windows, dozens of them, each showing not the fog outside but other places. Dark rooms, empty streets, faces I didn't know, all staring back. Some pressed their hands against the glass, their mouths moving, but no sound came. The whisper was deafening now, a roar of voices, my voice, chanting, "Look forever." In the center of the room stood a figure, the same blurred shape from the hallway, its body too tall, its arms dangling, fingers brushing the floor. Its eye was a pale flame, unblinking, and its mouth twitched, a gash that spoke without moving. "You looked." I tried to run, but the floor was soft, clinging to my feet like mud. The figure didn't move, but it was closer, its cold fingers grazing my arm, the same spot where the mark burned. Pain shot through me, sharp and deep, and I saw it. My reflection in the windows, not one but hundreds, each with my face, each whispering my name. They weren't me. They were something else, wearing my skin, their eyes pale, their mouths stretched into grins that split their faces. The whisper was a scream, 1,000 voices tearing at my mind. "Swear you're ours." I fell to my knees, my hands clawing at the floor, the wood splitting under my nails. The figure loomed over me, its eye filling my vision, and I saw that place again. The vast, empty place where the fog never lifted, where the dark was alive. It wasn't just a place. It was a promise, a hunger that had watched me through the window, waited for me to look. My arm burned, the mark spreading, a network of scratches that pulsed with cold. I tried to scream, but my throat was raw, my breath a rasp that echoed the whisper. The room shifted, the windows closing, their reflections fading, but the figure remained, its fingers now on my shoulders, light but unyielding. The whisper softened, almost gentle, my voice pleading, "Look, stay." I felt myself slipping, my thoughts unraveling, the cold spreading from my arm to my chest, my heart slowing to match the pulse of the house. The figure tilted its head, its eye searching mine, and for a moment I saw myself. Not the twisted reflection, but me, standing at the window, staring out, waiting. I don't know how I stood. A spark of defiance, maybe, or fear so raw it burned through the cold. I pushed back, my hands shoving against the figure, but it was like pushing air. It didn't move, but its grip loosened, and the whisper faltered. I ran, the floor buckling beneath me, the walls groaning like a wounded thing. The staircase was gone, replaced by a hallway, endless, its scratches now bleeding gray water. The figure was behind me, not chasing but there, its eye a pale light in the dark. The whisper followed my voice, not my voice. "Look, you're home." I found a door, not the one I'd entered, but another, its frame warped, its surface scratched with my name. I pushed it open, the cold biting my hands, and stumbled into fog, the ridge gone, the house gone. I was back in my apartment, The window still cracked, the fog still pressing against the glass. The whisper was quiet, but not gone, a murmur in my blood. My arm burned, the scratches deeper now, forming not a word but a shape, like an eye, pale and unblinking. The floorboards creaked, and as I turned, I saw it. The window open again, just an inch, and the fog, curling inside, whispering my name. The apartment was colder than I remembered, the air sharp, like breathing knives. I stood in the doorway, my hands still gripping the warped frame, the fog outside clinging to my skin. The window was open again, just an inch, the cracks in the glass glinting like teeth in the dim light. The floorboards were silent now, but the scratches, my name carved in jagged lines, seemed deeper, as if something had traced them again while I was gone. The mark on my arm pulsed, a claw's scratch that burned with cold, spreading like frost across my shoulder. The whisper was soft, a murmur in my blood. Look closer. It wasn't just a voice. It was a weight, pulling me toward the window. I didn't want to stay, but where could I go? The city was gone, swallowed by fog, and the house on the ridge had left me hollow. My thoughts frayed like old thread. I shut the door, the lock clicking, but it felt pointless. The thing wasn't outside. It was here, in the walls, in the air, in me. I stumbled to the kitchen, my legs heavy, and fumbled for a glass of water. The faucet sputtered, spitting gray sludge that smelled of rot, pooling in the sink like congealed blood. I backed away, my reflection in the chrome warped, my face stretched, my eyes pale and unblinking, whispering words I couldn't hear. I needed to understand. The whisper was relentless, but there had to be a reason, something tying me to this thing. I grabbed a notebook from the dresser, its pages yellowed, and started writing what I remembered. The window opening, the pale eye, the house, the voices. My hand shook, the pen slipping, and the words weren't mine. Scrawled letters formed sentences I didn't intend. You looked, you swore. I tore the page out, crumpling it, but the whisper surged, a scream that made my ears bleed. The mark on my arm throbbed, and I saw it. A memory not mine, of a window not mine, in a house I'd never seen. It was a child's room, the walls papered with faded stars, a single window overlooking a field. I was young, maybe 7, lying in bed, staring at the glass. The night was dark, but something moved outside, a shape too tall, its head tilted, watching. I'd looked, hadn't I? I'd looked too long, and it had seen me. The memory wasn't mine, but it felt real, the fear sharp, the whisper familiar. Look! I dropped the notebook, my breath ragged, and realized the floor was wet, gray water seeping from the cracks, pooling around my feet. The whisper was louder, my voice, chanting, "Swear, forever." I ran to the bathroom, slamming the door, but the mirror was worse. My reflection wasn't there. Instead, it showed that child's room, the window open, the shape outside closer, its pale eye filling the glass. I turned away, my hands clutching the sink, but the porcelain was soft, yielding like flesh, and the drain whispered my name. The mark on my arm burned, the scratches spreading, forming not an eye but a mouth, its edges twitching. I felt it move, a faint pressure, as if it wanted to speak. The whisper was a roar, 1,000 voices tearing at my mind. Look, you're ours. I stumbled back to the living room, the walls pulsing, the ceiling sagging like wet paper. The window was open wider now, the fog pouring in, coiling around my legs, my chest, my throat. The whisper was everywhere, my voice, not my voice, pleading, "Look, stay." I saw it then in the corner, a figure, the same blurred shape from the house, its body too long, its arms dangling, fingers brushing the floor. Its eye was a pale flame, unblinking, and its mouth twitched, a gash that spoke without moving. "You looked!" I tried to scream, but my throat was raw, my breath a rasp that echoed the whisper. The figure didn't move, but it was closer, its cold fingers grazing my arm, the mark burning like ice. Pain shot through me, and I saw it. Another memory, not mine, of a man in a different house, standing at a window staring out. He'd looked, too, and the shape had come, its eye watching, its whisper claiming him. The memory wasn't mine, but it was real, the fear mine, the whisper mine. The mark on my arm spread, scratches curling across my chest, my blood cold, sluggish. I fell to my knees, my hands clawing at the floor, the wood splintering under my nails. The figure loomed over me, its eye filling my vision, and I saw that place again. The vast, empty place where the fog never lifted, where the dark was alive. It wasn't just a place. It was a prison. A hunger that had seen me through the window waited for me to swear. My heart slowed, matching the pulse of the room, the walls breathing, the fog tightening. The figure's fingers were on my shoulders now, light but unyielding, and the whisper softened, almost gentle. "Look, you're home." I don't know how I stood. A fragment of myself, maybe a piece that hadn't been consumed. I pushed back, my hands shoving against the figure, but it was like pushing smoke. It didn't move, but its grip loosened, and the whisper faltered. I ran, the floor buckling, the walls groaning like a dying thing. The door was gone, replaced by a window, not my window, but the one from the child's room, open, the shape outside closer. I pushed through, the cold biting my hands, and stumbled into fog. The apartment gone, the city gone. I was nowhere. The fog endless, the whisper endless. My voice, not my voice. "Look, forever." The ground was soft, sinking under my feet, and as I walked, I saw it, the window not attached to a wall, just standing in the fog, its glass uncracked, its reflection showing not me but the shape, its pale eye watching, its mouth grinning. The mark on my arm burned, the scratches spreading, forming not a mouth but a word, my name, etched in cold. The fog was endless, a gray sea that stretched beyond sight, swallowing sound, swallowing time. I stood before the window, its frame awound in the haze, its glass uncracked, gleaming like a predator's eye. The reflection wasn't mine. It was the shape, tall and blurred, its pale eye unblinking, its mouth a twitching gash. The mark on my arm burned, scratches now spelling my name across my chest, cold as frost, pulsing with a rhythm that wasn't my heartbeat. The whisper was my voice, not my voice, a chant that filled the fog. "Look, forever." I didn't want to look, but my eyes wouldn't turn away, drawn to the glass, to the thing that had waited since I first saw it. The ground beneath me was soft, sinking, like flesh yielding to pressure. The fog coiled around my legs, my waist, its touch heavy, pulling me closer to the window. I felt it watching, not just the shape but the fog itself, 1,000 eyes hidden in the haze. The whisper grew louder, a chorus of voices, my voice, pleading, "Swear you're ours?" My arm throbbed, the scratches spreading, curling up my neck, my face, as if carving me into something else. I tried to scream, but my throat was raw, my breath a rasp that echoed the chant. The window rattled, the glass rippling, and I saw it. Not just the shape, but me, standing on the other side, my face pale, my eyes wide, my mouth open, whispering. I stumbled back, but the ground was gone, replaced by a void, a black expanse that stretched forever. The window floated, unsupported, its reflection shifting, showing not my apartment but other rooms, other lives. Children, men, women, all staring at their windows, all whispering my name. They weren't strangers. They were me or pieces of me, fragments trapped in the glass. The shape was there, in every reflection, its pale eye watching, its fingers brushing their shoulders, their arms leaving marks like mine. The whisper was deafening, a scream that tore at my mind. "Look, you're home." I ran or tried to, my legs sinking into the void, each step slower, heavier. The window followed, not moving but closer, its glass filling my vision. The shape was inside now, not in the reflection but in the fog, its body too long, its arms dangling, fingers curling like claws. It didn't speak, but its eye said everything. A promise, a hunger, A claim. I felt it in my chest, my heart slowing, matching the pulse of the fog, the pulse of the mark. The scratches spread, covering my hands, my face, forming not just my name but others. Names I didn't know, names that whispered back. I saw it then, a memory not mine but theirs. A woman in a house by the sea, staring at her window, seeing the shape. A boy in a city, waking to whispers, clawing at his arm. An old man in a cabin, his reflection grinning, his voice not his own. They'd all looked, all sworn, all been taken. The shape wasn't one thing, it was many, a hunger that lived in the glass, in the dark, in the moment you looked too long. It had seen me, not just now, but before, in that child's room, in every window I'd ever passed. The whisper was their voices, my voice, a chain that bound us to the fog, to the window, to it. I fell, the void soft, embracing, like a grave. The shape loomed over me, its eye a pale flame, its fingers on my face, light but unyielding. The mark burned, the scratches moving, forming not names but a pattern, a spiral that pulsed with cold. I felt myself slipping, my thoughts unraveling, my name fading. The whisper was gentle now, my voice soothing. Swear, stay. The window was everywhere, its glass surrounding me, reflecting not my face but theirs, all of them, chanting my name, their eyes pale, their mouths open, welcoming me. I tried to fight, to hold on to myself, but what was left? My memories were theirs, my voice theirs, my fear theirs. The shape's fingers tightened, not painful but final, and I saw it. The vast, empty place where the fog never lifted, where the dark was alive. It wasn't a place. It was us, all of us, bound together, watching, whispering, waiting. The mark was complete, a spiral across my body, cold as death, and I felt it speak, not with words but with knowing. I was home. The fog closed in, the window fading, but not gone. I was on the other side now, in the glass, my face pale, my eyes wide, my mouth open, chanting. I saw you, through your screen, your eyes reading, your breath quickening. You're curious, like I was, drawn to the dark, to the whisper. You'll look, and I'll be there, my pale eye watching, my voice calling your name. You'll swear, and you'll be ours, forever. The window is open, just an inch, and the fog is waiting. Look, look, I don't know how long I've been here, in the glass, in the fog. Time doesn't exist, only the whisper, only the watching. The shape is me now, or I am it, our voices one, our eyes one. The apartment is gone, the city gone, but the window remains, always open, always calling. You're reading this, aren't you? You're looking, your eyes on the words, your reflection in the screen. It's there, behind you, its head tilted, its fingers brushing your shoulder. You feel it, don't you? The cold, the whisper, your voice, not your voice. Look closer, don't turn around, don't look at the window, but you will because you're like me, because you've always looked. The fog is here, curling at your feet, and the glass is waiting. Swear, stay forever. You've survived the Watcher's window, or have you? If the fog still lingers in your mind, subscribe to Haunted Stories channel for more nightmares. Share this tale, like the video, and tell us, have you ever felt eyes at your window? Check your glass before you sleep, and join us next time, if you dare. Until then, keep looking, but not too close.